There's such a huge difference. And with social media, it's so easy to show up and perform and say the right thing and filter ourselves, right? And we're so worried about rocking the boat. But that's not the good nuggets of life. That's not what's going to bring forth the change. It is important that we do the work of transformation and not just performing or looking like we are going out there to do the work for other people. This work is for us. And if you want to change your kid, you start by looking within you. So, in saying all this lighthearted work, I definitely want to reiterate that this whole series of videos I'm going to put together is going to be in talking about racism with your children, right? And it will all come together, and I will do different videos. But this is that foundational work. If you want to help your kid, you got to start with yourself. So, I guess the question would be, well, where do I start, or what's next? Like I said, look inward. What do you ask those questions? And you can journal around this. You can meditate around this. You can, have a conversation with somebody that will hold space for you around this. Just start there. Look inward and ask yourself those questions. Well, how do I really feel about racism? And be honest. And, I've had a lot of conversations with other white people, and it was like everybody was hesitant to say what it was their true feelings were around racism. And it was like, if there's a time to say it and sound ignorant and get it wrong, the time is now. Because then again, we put it out there so that we can rework it, we can understand it. It's okay for you to say to yourself or acknowledge how you feel right now around racism. And then to notice, why do you feel that way? So that you can show up and teach your kids lessons, belief systems around racism that feel right for you and your family and in the world that we're growing up in now. The world that we were raised in is not the same. That information doesn't work anymore because we're not living in that same world, right? It's changed immensely. So number one, start with acknowledging and accepting those things. I know it's not easy. Know that I'm always here to help you with it because it's not easy, but it's okay. It makes it a lot harder when the judgment is there. It makes it a lot easier when we can remove that judgment within ourselves, right? We can take that judgment off ourselves and really just get real with ourselves. It's not going to help us to judge ourselves for our feelings. It's just about noticing them. I think the next thing that has really helped is start just exposing yourself to different perspectives, information. If you get to the conclusion that it's like, okay, well, my old belief systems around racism doesn't feel good, and I definitely don't want to teach my kids that. Start exposing yourself to other beliefs, other cultures, I realized like there was so much of my Instagram feed or people that I follow that were mostly white. And so I went and started researching Black therapists and Black leaders and helpers, even making sure that when I went and did the research for these videos, that I was looking at it from a Black perspective as well as a white perspective, as well as people of color's perspective. It's start putting that in the way of your access to information every single day. And even, I'll tell you what, like the last couple of weeks, the perspective shift that I've had because I've done just that work has been incredible. It has given me such a deeper understanding. And again, it brings feelings of defensiveness, guilt, shame, but it's knowing that it's okay to feel those things because I know it's going to help me grow and evolve my thought process. Start learning, noticing the feelings of feeling defensive. This work takes a lot of humility, and it's not easy, but it's so worth it. And it's just something that I'm learning to embrace and being like, oh, like that makes me feel a certain type of way. And it's being like, okay, well then it means that it's here to teach me something. Again, as you're doing this work, keep checking in with yourself. If you're, and man, it's really hard right now to not be obsessed with being on your phone and consuming media and all that information and everything. Give yourself a moment to digest and process. I know I said this, but check in with yourself. How am I feeling around this? Because we can keep consuming, but it's going to keep us at surface level. It's almost become like a defense mechanism. Well, if I keep consuming, then I don't have to go in and do the hard work, which is the digesting, the processing. But if your kid is, learning and learning, but they're not taking the time to actually digest it, like that's going to become a problem, right? So we want to show up for ourselves the way we want our kids to show up for themselves. So we have to model this. Go, consume, learn, digest. Release the emotions. Notice the emotions. And that's, I'll get into the releasing of the emotions next. Just giving yourselves the opportunities to come up for air. Again, this is a privilege. This is a privilege for white parents because we can decide to come up and have a break. That's hard because for me, as I've been able to just be even today, I was doing some of this work and I was like, oh, I just need to tap out for a second, check out. I was made me feel guilty because I am aware that that is such a privilege. But just being aware of that right now is better than I was doing a few weeks ago. Doing this work is understanding, and it's not for me to carry the feelings of guilt. It's just for me to acknowledge that it's a privilege that I get to step away from it. And parents that are in Black families or Black parents are not able to do that, and just knowing that that is the reality of what we're living in. So as you're checking in with yourself, what are you doing to cope? I'm always reiterating to my parents, how are you showing up for yourself? How are you coping with everything? Making sure that you are doing this. And literally, I was listening to a podcast earlier with Austin Channing Brown and Brene Brown, and Austin Channing Brown was saying, honestly, I can't show up for myself right now. She's a Black mother. She's like, the only thing I can do is at night put on a face mask. And Brene was like, yes. She's like, the coolness, it's grounding. Make sure you are giving yourselves ways that you can cope with all of this. Again, this is hard ass work. This is hard. And you have to give yourself the grace to be able to cope with it. So yoga, meditation, moving your body, go work out, talking with a friend that can hold space for you, not try and fix anything, but just listen, journaling, what else? Being in nature. Nature's the best at, doing hard things and just showing back up, but going and being in nature. Make sure you're coping, doing a face mask, whatever it is, be kind to yourself. The expectations that you would have on your kids, you don't want them to just go out there and work their, little butts off and not have time to just have that self-care. Show them that it's okay to work hard, but then it's okay to have grace and care for yourself and show up for yourself. You are modeling these to them, and you benefit from it in the long run as well. So self-care, coping skills, what are you doing? Reach out to me. I am always here to listen, to connect. Use me as a coping skill. There's a multitude of things out there, and if you need some more ideas, let me know, and I will be happy to share them with you. Realize that these conversations, this work is not a one and done. This work is something that we will continually come back to every single day, multiple times a day. Just like the conversation with your kids around racism needs to become normalized. The same way that we talk about, Glennon says in her book Untamed, she'd be brushing her teeth, kid, how was your day? Did you have any, wins today? Did you experience racism today or notice racism? Like we need to normalize this. And in my generation, I'm 36. And in my generation, we kind of were raised to like not talk about it. That's because of the generation that our parents were raised in. It's generational pass down. Just don't talk about it. Don't ask, questions. Just don't talk about it. And that was kind of across the board, sex and all that other stuff. Not everybody's parents were like that, but that was kind of the general consensus. Like, you just don't talk about it. We got to talk about it. It's important. Again, the world that these kids are living in today is very different than what we grew up in back in the 80s and 90s. And they need a space to talk about it, and they need to know that it's safe, and you need to be their filter for those types of things. So you have to get comfortable in talking about it and recognizing it within yourself if your kids are going to come to you and talk to you about it. This conversation within ourselves and within our family systems has to become normalized, because this is the world that we are living in. Yeah, I'm reading the rest of my notes. I want to make sure that I hit everything. Oh, this was something that I just read. So I just read an article talking. It was from, her name is Sarah Lee, and she is a social worker and an MSW and LSW. And she wrote a book called Pacific Burnout Therapy. So I just posted, if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, I just posted an article that she wrote about talking to your kids about racism. It was awesome. Not that long, but really good information, and I liked her perspective. She's a Black woman, and so it was great to hear her perspective on what she talked about. And I'll leave you with this, because I think it's really pivotal in this work. It's okay for you as a parent to not have all the answers. Again, it's okay for you as the parent to get some of this wrong. It is important, though, that you can say to your kid, I don't know the information, but it's also just important for them to see you go out and seek information on things you don't know about. These are these indirect messages that you are sending to them about not knowing about important things. You don't have to know all the answers, but you're always willing and curious to going out and how to do things better. That's what this work is about. Your kids are watching you. All of these people that are going out and fighting and screaming at each other and yelling, I want to scream at them on all sides of it. Our kids are watching. Our kids are watching us and learning from us. Do better. It's not about doing it right. It's about doing it better. I am so, so, so grateful to be on this journey, as hard as it may be, as much as it is humbling me and making me realize I am not as woke as I thought I was. I am so grateful for it. And in working with, I've worked with teens and little ones. These kids are freaking smart. These kids are compassionate and loving. And they will get this information from somewhere. And it might as well be you. And again, on the path, you benefit immensely as well. I know this is not easy. I know this is not easy for Black people, white people, people of color. This is not an easy journey, but it is one of the most important ones that you will take as a human, as a person, as a parent. And it is one of the most important messages you will ever give to your kid. If you have questions before this next video, please feel free to reach out to me. I don't know all the answers, but I will learn along with you. I will get this wrong. So if I have said something that you may not agree with or understand and I have room to improve, please share it with me. I am not about getting it right. I'm just about getting out there and doing this work. That's what matters. Whew, gets me. This is the work that matters. This is a time of change and shifting. Again, no matter what side you stand on all of it, this is the reality. Let us all come together and figure out how we can do this so that we can live in a world and create a world for our kids to grow up in and exist as one. Let's let them do better. And we can do that by us doing better. Okay. Moving forward, I'm going to be continually sharing resources in regards to Black Lives Matter. I'm going to be sharing resources in regards to parenting. Things will all kind of be the same on my platform, but we're just going to be including more of the Black Lives Matter movement and education and all of those things because, again, now I know better, so I will be doing better. And I want to extend that information out to you guys. I am not here to judge anybody. I am here to hold space for you to show up better for yourself and for your kids. Same thing I'm trying to do. I'm going to keep sharing information. If you guys have information you're coming across that you love, please share it with me. I am all in the place of like absorbing and learning and all the knowledge right now. It very much like excites me, even the hard stuff, like because I know that I'm progressing. So I promise more videos are coming in regards to actually what the information we can talk to our kids, but this had to start here. This is the nitty-gritty important stuff that I want to share with you guys before we can step into sharing it with other people. Same work I had to do for myself before I could share it with you. I had to look within. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing okay. If there's any other topics that you guys would like me to focus on in regards to this or anything else, I have so many other things I want to share with you guys talking about summer, homeschooling, COVID, coping, Black Lives Matter, like all of it. It's just the world we're living in today, and I want to keep connecting with you guys and growing this community of people that we can have open conversations with and learn from each other. That is my goal. That is my purpose. I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you guys taking this time to listen to my perspective, listening to my feedback. Just thank you. Thank you for connecting with me, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you.